Welcome to the Christmas Botanicals class. I'm Heather Winslow Lefebvre, and I am so glad that you've joined me for this nature adventure this Christmas. Christmas is one of my favorite times of the year, and I think it's because of the anticipation, the beauty, the joy that seems to pervade society, and all of the wonderful decorations we surround ourselves with. And nature plays a big part in those decorations. Think Christmas trees, poinsettia, holly, snow, mistletoe. It's all nature. And I am excited about exploring these nature elements together in this class. I have some ideas about how you can best make use of this class. And first of all, I want to say that this class is made for you to connect with nature. It's not to be a pressure. It's not to be a checkoff list. It's a tool to help you enjoy nature. So all of these ideas that I have and projects you can do, choose what you have time for, choose what you will enjoy, choose what will help you connect with nature the best. You can pick and choose and watch these videos in any order that you want. You will have unlimited access to them for as long, indefinitely, so there's no rush. You can also choose to follow the Advent plan that I created, and you can print out these Advent tags and do one of the videos each of the 24 days leading up to Christmas. I also have arranged the videos in week by week format. So you could watch all of the videos in one day each week. However you choose to do it, just remember that the point is for you to connect with nature and to enjoy the process. My classes are always structured around nature walks because that's really the heart and soul of this nature exploration and connection. For you to get out in nature and make your own discoveries and grow in wonder, exercise your imagination, and just be awed at what there is out there in nature to explore. So nature walks will be a big focus of our study. And then, of course, the nature journal. You can use a journal, you can use watercolor paper, you can use whatever you want. And I know some of you may be more interested in making gift tags, cards, things like that. I will help you to understand how you can take the information I'm sharing and turn it into these kinds of additions to your Christmas celebration. We should have at the beginning of the painting videos a simplified version that you can put onto a tag, and then a more in-depth painting version in case you want to put a more lengthy painting into your nature journal or make some kind of framed art with it. Also, you will have seen the PDF that contains all of the extra information and printouts that you can use as references for painting if you're not able to obtain your own examples of, say, pine cones or spruce or holly or mistletoe. So this PDF set is really going to provide a lot of important information for you. You can use it straight off your computer or phone, or if you have access to a color printer, they're really handy to print out. I don't have a color printer, so I send mine directly to my local UPS print store. They print them on cardstock in color for me for about $1 a page. So that's another option. I think those are the preliminary details, and now we can get into our class. Let's dive right into talking about evergreens because really they are the backbone of our Christmas celebrations. So when we think of evergreens, we often say the word pine tree and we think of things like Christmas trees. But actually, the word that is the umbrella over all of these kinds of greens is conifer. And the conifer family is characterized by trees and plants that have needle-like leaves. They have woody cones and they are evergreen. That means their leaves don't fall off regularly. Now, there are 7 families in the conifer sort of umbrella, and we are probably quite familiar with the pine family, the spruce family, and the fir family, but there's 4 others, and they would be the yew family, the juniper family, the cypress family, and the cedar family. So these 7 make up the groups that are under conifer. And I have attached this PDF. You can follow along with me. This has all the information that we are going to learn about for conifers. So let's talk a little bit about pine, spruce, and fir today, since those are typically what we see when we go to buy our Christmas tree or we want to decorate around the house. And let's talk about how the needles are attached and what the needles look like. So this is a white pine branch, and you can see how long the needles are. The pine needles can grow from 2 to 7 inches long, and this is going to be our defining characteristic for recognizing the pine families in the conifer group. We're going to look for long needles. As you can see, I have a spruce branch here, and you can see how short the needles are as compared with the pine. Now, spruce needles are short, and another characteristic of their needles, they're round. You can easily pick a little needle off of a spruce. They're hard to get off. And you can roll it between your fingers and it rolls easily. The third group is firs, and fir needles do not roll easily in your fingers because they're flat. All right, let's talk about how the needles are attached. On the pine, the needles come in groups of 2 to 7. If you can get at these up close, you will see that they don't come out singly, they're always grouped together. And that's something to keep in mind when we're painting this. We'll talk about that later. But pine needles come attached in groups of 2 to 7. But the spruce and the fir needles attach only one, never in groups. And the spruce attach with little tiny wooden peg-like structures to the branch. The fir attaches with what looks like a suction cup. This is all really tiny. You almost need a magnifying glass to get up close and see this. Now, another way we can tell the difference between pines, firs, and spruces is how the branches grow on the tree. So the pine branches point up like this. You'll see them growing on the tree like this. The spruce branches also point up. They grow in an upward direction. But fir trees have their branches growing in a downward direction. More clues of how to identify them. And then one more very interesting and helpful way is to look at how the cones are growing on these trees, and that helps to identify what they are. So, pine trees, their branches grow in an upward direction and their cones hang down. Now, that is also the same for spruce. The branches grow in an upward direction and the cones hang down. But the fir tree, and I don't have a fir example here, firs are really hard for me to come by. So I could not get an example, but the fir tree, their branches grow down and their cones grow up. Now, this might seem like a lot of information at once, but once you get out in nature and start looking, it'll become fairly easy to identify. You're going to find the pines so easily by looking for these long needles. You're going to be able to tell the spruce so easily by looking for those branches that are upturned with the cones hanging down. And you're going to be able to tell those firs by their flat needles that won't roll in your fingers. So now, tomorrow's activity is for you to go out on a conifer walk and hunt for some of these and see what you can find. You'll probably want to take this with you so that you can easily identify these 3 different families. But today's journaling activity is for you to take this information about conifers and put it into your journal in some way that might be helpful to you. Now, for me, that was to write all the information in a chart so I could remember it. But you might just want to choose 1 or 2 really helpful parts and put them in your journal. You can add color, you could add a little painting of something. We'll get to the more technical painting in a few days. But today, I'd like you to just put something in your journal that helps you to remember what we've been learning about conifers. All right, let's get to work.